婚的男女关系已经到了魔法对轰的版本，以往男性还会讲理，现在完全甩开枷锁。
The relationship between men and women in China has already reached the level of magical bombardment. In the past, men would still try to reason. Now, they've completely thrown off the shackles, ignoring right or wrong and going straight into verbal attacks. Recently, if you look at the comment sections, under videos about gender issues, you can notice this new shift. Why? Because men have realized that reasoning doesn't work. It feels much better to just go all out and counterattack. The most interesting part is, when men start acting crazy, the other side suddenly begins to reason. Little by little, more peacekeepers appear, hoping to calm the dispute. But men say, "We're just copy-pasting the exact same words." Women once said to us, "Only changing the pronouns slightly. Why can't you handle it now?" To put it plainly, men are truly being pushed to the edge. In the past, the whole society used public opinion to suppress men in various ways. In daily life and at work, they had to yield to women. In relationships, they had to shoulder expenses. Before marriage, they had to prepare a car, a house, and bride price. After marriage, they had to hand over their salary cards. This oppressive emotional model produced countless submissive, blue lapdogs. Most men became extremely insecure in relationships. Even if their own lives were a mess, they would still spend their money on women. And even so, they were still labeled male privilege, accused of being beneficiaries of patriarchy, smeared as profiting off gender. Who could tolerate that? The truth is, these are contradictions that should be resolved. Men and women should not be enemies. They should unite to resist exploitation together. But under the guidance of certain mysterious forces, the blame was deliberately directed at ordinary men. And now here we are. The magical bombardment has begun. Once this atmosphere forms, it cannot be stopped. Men have already reached a consensus. It's better to double-check everything than to trust blindly. Relationships must go through verification. I've studied the history of gender relations in many countries, especially Japan. China's development speed will be at least 5 times faster. At this pace, by early next year, women's consumer power will completely collapse. And then, their position in public discourse will collapse right along with it. At that point, they will face enemies on all sides, feeling helpless like men once did. Many people in the past tried to reason with them, warning that extreme feminism would inevitably give rise to extreme masculinity, but they dismissed it. And now, this magical backlash is the tolling of the bell. It's already too late to stop society's decline. In the end, we cannot escape the fate of history.
因为出轨而离婚的女人呀，没有一个是无辜的，不要对她们抱有幻想啊。
For women who divorce because of infidelity, not a single one is innocent. Don't harbor any illusions. Never get involved with these divorced women. Not a single one of them is good. They come out looking for men, only to grab money, to see who has cash, who has value, who has resources they can drain. Don't ever think, "Oh, I had a child with her, so our relationship must be stable." You are wrong. Didn't she have a child with her ex-husband? Didn't she still cheat? Didn't she still abandon her husband and child? So remember this. If a woman can play around with you, if she can cheat, she can just as easily play around with someone else.
大家知道现在广东相亲市场上男生都是怎么评价大龄女生的吗？
Do you all know how men in Guangdong's matchmaking market evaluate older unmarried women nowadays? This morning, a man born in 1988 came to see me. His hometown is Qingyuan, and now he is running a restaurant business in Dongguan. His annual income is over 800,000 Yanyan yuan, and he owns a fully paid car and house. By any measure, those conditions are considered pretty good, right? When he came to me, he made one point very clear. He firmly refuses to accept unmarried women over the age of 32. If he really cannot find anyone else, he would rather find a woman who had a short marriage but no children, but he will not accept older leftover women. I asked him why. He said that after so many years of matchmaking, he has summed up 4 fatal flaws of older leftover women. First, they are overly independent. They believe marriage is unnecessary. Such women, he said, cannot live a good married life. Second, they have a severe problem of self-positioning. They set their sights high while their abilities are low, completely lacking self-awareness, already well into their 30 seconds, yet they make demands like girls in their 20 seconds and even higher. Third, they are overly pretentious. Older leftover women are especially finicky. If you give in to them, they think you are weak, that you lack masculinity. If you don't give in to them, they call you a straight man who doesn't know how to provide emotional value. Fourth, the cost-benefit ratio is too high. The risks far outweigh the returns. So, having said this, I also want to ask the men watching this video, do you agree with his opinion?
男生相亲时，这4条底线你们一定要记牢。见过太多。
When men go on blind dates, you must firmly remember these 4 bottom lines. I've seen too many honest men suffer losses in matchmaking. Taking the initiative is fine, but never spend your own money to subsidize her. Treating her to a meal is fine, but never transfer her money directly. Pursuing her is fine, but never degrade yourself into groveling. Being slow to warm up is fine, but never be cold and indifferent.
男人选老婆啊，只选聪明的，不要去选漂亮。她长得再好看，她都会有老的。
When a man chooses a wife, he should choose a smart one, not just a pretty one. No matter how beautiful she is, she will grow old one day. As a man, you're busy every day with career and work. Naturally, you won't have much time to invest in raising children, but if you choose a smart wife, a wife with high emotional intelligence, she will be very responsible and wholeheartedly dedicated to educating your children. When you're fighting battles outside, she'll stand by you at home, working with you hand in hand. Life will only get better and better. But if you choose a wife who is only young and pretty, who spends her days just thinking about where to go out, where to spend money, who's muddle-headed when problems arise, then it's highly likely your children will grow up the same way, unable to shoulder responsibilities, fond of comfort, lazy, and unmotivated. So, as a man, if you choose the right wife, your family life will flourish. If you choose the wrong wife, it will be the downfall of your family's happiness. Before we dive into all of this, let us know in the comments where you're watching this video from. Connecting with viewers across the world is a huge source of inspiration for us.
38岁不是学历的一个女生来找我走对象吗？推荐吗？但是她就是带着一点。
A 38-year-old woman, disregarding her education level, came to me, looking for a partner, asking for recommendations, but she carried a tone that was almost crying, a state filled with unwillingness and grievance. She said that in her previous relationship, she had only casually mentioned the bride price, and then the man immediately turned around and married a woman born in the 1990 seconds. The man was 35 years old, 170 centimeter tall, with a house and a car. The two of them had been introduced by their families. They dated for half a year and were already halfway to marriage. The woman, a PhD holder, said she wanted a bride price of 288,000 yuan because she felt that her parents had worked so hard to raise her, to support her through her PhD studies, and she thought 288,000 yuan was already too little. But unexpectedly, once the man heard about this, he immediately disappeared. Within just a few months, he married a woman born in the 1990 seconds. Then she came and asked me, why? Why did this happen? In fact, the answer is very simple. He was talking to you about life, while you were talking to him about business.
什么是好女人？6个字，有标准，懂付出。好女人的自我定位标。
What is a good woman? There are 6 words that define the standard. Knows how to give. A good woman's self-positioning standard is very clear. If she cannot meet the standard, I will not give her any chance to keep me as a backup. Those who say they are slow to warm up are never good women. They are simply people who cannot get what they want, so they end up hurting those they don't want. A good woman, when she meets a man who meets her standard, will definitely give in return, and never less than the man. They and men will please each other mutually. They will never use the excuse, I am a woman, so you should give more, as a reason to force you to keep giving just to prove your love. If you've never encountered this type of good woman, then it means you need to improve your own charm or switch to a different circle.
彩礼的话，我就要个我3年的工资就行了。
3年工资，你1年挣多少了？现在？
我现在的话，1年。
What's wrong with it? I just want a bride price equal to 3 years of my salary, that's all. 3 years salary? How much do you earn in a year now? Right now, in a good year, I can make about 200,000 yuan yuan. Well, that's not bad, right? What do you do? I'm in the second-hand luxury goods business. When business is good, 200,000 yuan yuan a year is definitely no problem. So 3 years would mean a bride price of 600,000 yuan yuan. 600,000 yuan yuan? Why so high? Well, just think about it. For a woman, after marriage and childbirth, there's at least a 3-year gap, a blank period in her career. So basically, you can regard it as compensation for childbirth. At the very least, give me 3 years of salary. And I think that's only the starting price. Why do you make it sound like you're doing business? Like you're a taxi driver? Why is there even a starting price? And besides, when you talk about 3 years off for childbirth, isn't the child also yours, not just his? It's not like you're just some baby-making machine, right? I'm telling you everything I've said is the truth. You don't need to use these words to mock me. If a man can't give me anything, why should I marry him? Why should I give him children? And earlier you even said I'm some kind of fantasizing woman. Am I fantasizing? What you're saying now is like dreaming. In reality, who would give you such a high bride price? That's nonsense.
你们觉得这相亲市场上是普信男多还是普信女多呢？据我这几年的红娘经验来，
Do you think in today's matchmaking market, there are more average men with delusions, 普通且自信男, 普信男, or more average women with delusions, 普通且自信女, 普信女? From my years of experience as a matchmaker, I think there are far fewer average delusional men. Because when men sign up with us, if we recommend some really beautiful women to them, their usual reaction is, oh, she's too pretty, I can't handle her. Too beautiful, I don't deserve her. No, not possible. Most normal men just want to find a steady, down-to-earth woman to live life with. But some women, who come to matchmake, I can't even put it into words. For example, she may earn just 300 yuan, 400 yuan a month. Her looks, her family background, her education, all kite average. Yet she insists on finding someone with high education, high income, high looks, and from a good family background, preferably at least 1.8 meters tall. And she thinks there's nothing wrong with that. But me, I'm just a matchmaker, not some magic wishing pond or a turtle who grants wishes.
一个男人为你掉眼泪，你知道这意味着什么吗？这意味着他是真爱你，爱到骨子里。
Do you know what it means when a man sheds tears for you? It means he truly, deeply loves you to the very core of his bones, because men do not cry easily. If a man cries for you, then believe me, his love for you is something no one else can ever compare to. So if right now he is clinging to you, please give him another chance. Maybe right now, all you see is how annoying he seems, how irritating his behavior island, but you must understand that is not his true intention. The reason he clings so tightly is because he has completely collapsed inside. His rationality has switched off, and he is being entirely dragged along by his emotions. But think about it from another perspective. How many times in your life can you encounter a person who loves you so much that he cannot even control himself? I know many of you like those men who seem calm, unrestrained, confident, able to handle everything without breaking a sweat. But think carefully. A man who is always emotionless around you, who is always clear-headed, who never loses control, who never makes mistakes, does he really love you? If you're still watching, comment 1 so I know you're still with me.
你们敢相信吗？北京有一半女生很难嫁出去了，因为现在北京相亲市场上所有年龄。
Can you believe it? In Beijing, half of the women find it very difficult to get married. Because in today's Beijing matchmaking market, whether it's older women or younger women, their standards for choosing a partner are basically the same. The man must be taller than 175 centimeters. He must be good-looking, his family conditions must be good, and preferably, his parents should be government officials. All the women have these exact same standards. Beautiful or not beautiful, they all demand the same things. But let me ask you this in return. A man who is good-looking, 180 centimeters tall, with all kinds of good conditions, and an annual income of 300,000 yuan is approximately equal to 41,000 yuan USD. Do you think he's blind? Why would such a man choose you instead of finding a woman from a good family background, who's beautiful and also works in the system? Why would he choose you who's just sitting there making wishes? That's why nowadays women really do find it hard to get married. Any girl who is clear-headed usually marries early. It's only the ones who remain unclear and keep dreaming that are still unmarried to this day. So tell me, at the end of the day, is the problem with the men or is it with the women?
结婚当天，这个新郎是无情的退婚，父母不仅不生气。
On the wedding day, the groom ruthlessly called off the marriage. And instead of being angry, his parents secretly felt relieved. It turns out that the root cause of everything was a prenuptial agreement from the bride's side. So just how terrifying was this agreement? Within it, the bride laid out 5 main sections, one ever read SRA taps, with a total of 18 rules and stipulations. And every single one of them hit hard. It was stipulated that all of the groom's personal property before marriage would, upon the issuance of the marriage certificate, become joint marital property. After marriage, once the groom received his monthly salary, the bride would be the one to give him an allowance. The amount of allowance and whether it could be exceeded would all be decided by the bride. Furthermore, after marriage, when it came to issues of childbirth and education, the bride's opinion would be the main deciding factor. Additionally, any property the groom obtained from his parents, through gifts, inheritance, or other means after marriage, it was also required to become joint marital property. It was also demanded that the bride's name be added to the property ownership certificates. All 18 clauses were worded with extreme precision, on precision, linking one to the next seamlessly. And within the second major section of this agreement, a core clause stated, if the groom violated any 3 of the listed rules, the bride had the right to fire the marriage. Moreover, after divorce, the groom would be required to voluntarily give up his share of the joint property, leaving the marriage with nothing. And not only that, he would also have to compensate the bride with 1.2 million yuan to be paid off within 1 year after divorce. So, family, take a look at this terrifying contract. It successfully scared the groom away, and the marriage was called off just like that. Now, here comes the question. If you were the groom, would you dare to sign such an agreement? Would you dare to go through with such a marriage?
刚才在那边看到一个男生，95年的天津本地男生，他的择偶要求呢？
Earlier, I saw a young man, born in 1995, a local from Tianjin. His requirements for a partner were, the girl must be good-looking. He said, everyone loves beauty. If there are beautiful women available, why would I choose someone unattractive? She must have a good personality and good temper. He doesn't want someone with princess syndrome. He wants a gentle woman because he doesn't want his marriage to be full of chaos and quarrels every day. Although he admits he's not the type to buy flowers or give gold jewelry all the time, he emphasized that when it comes to creating a sense of ceremony, he would never fall short. He hopes the woman is an only child, with no extra family burdens. He wants her family environment to be harmonious, because if the family has good economic conditions, it will be helpful for his career. At the same time, it would also mean less pressure in their married life. So, everyone, what do you think about this young man's criteria for choosing a partner?
我发现大多数女生随着年龄增长，就是无论她长得好不好看、丑。
I've noticed that as most women grow older, regardless of whether they are attractive or not, outstanding or average, their willingness to actively socialize drops day by day. The longer they remain single, the more reclusive they become. This isn't a matter of not having a social circle. The real issue is that they no longer even have the willingness to actively meet new friends. You'll even find that some women's social circles have been stagnant for many years, sometimes still stuck back in their student days. Let's not even talk about whether they can find a partner. In the long run, this lifestyle is definitely harmful to their physical and mental health. That's why you really need to go out more, take a few steps outside. Even if you can't find a partner, at the very least you can still meet some new friends. Maybe right now you don't feel like it's a big deal, but once you reach a certain age, most of you will regret it.
再婚肯定也是要给彩礼的噻。
为啥呀？二婚男人
Of course, remarriage also requires giving a bride price. Why? Because very few divorced men are willing to voluntarily give a bride price, precisely because they don't give. If I give, then I have an advantage. Then I might be chosen. Don't you know the saying? To win the heart of a lion, You must be willing to tend its wounds? Only then can you gain its affection again and again. So, how much are you willing to give? That depends on how much she asks for. And you're not afraid you won't be able to afford it? That shouldn't be possible, I'm confident. Big brother, what exactly do you do? I run 2 companies. Although business is still somewhat unstable, my assets are over 10 million. I have a daughter who is in graduate school. May I ask, why did you get divorced? Back then, I failed in my first venture, lost a lot of money. I didn't want my wife to follow me into debt, to live a bitter life. So we agreed to part ways amicably. So this company you run now, are you built it up again on your own afterward? Yes, back when I was young, I lacked experience and ability in many areas, so I suffered some losses. Later, after paying off the debts, I started again. After my office stabilized, I realized I had grown old and my child had grown up, so now I just want to find a partner. Then why not think of reconciling with your ex-wife? She has already remarried and has her own family now. Big brother, for someone like you, successful in business, with no entanglements with your ex-wife, generous and willing to give, aren't you afraid of meeting someone insincere? My premise is that the other party must be worthy. I'm not stingy with one person while generous with another. If she's worthy, then I must treat her generously. So, what kind of woman do you think is worthy? First of all, she must be economically independent and not burdened with major debts. Why? Didn't you just say we shouldn't compare women's conditions? That men compete differently? She doesn't need to earn a huge amount. Even if she makes only 8,000 yuan, as long as her living expenses are just 5,000 yuan, that still counts as economic independence. Only when life is not a problem for her can her attitude toward love be purer. When she's with you, it will be because of who you are. If she has heavy debts, then I cannot be sure. Does she really like me sincerely? Or is she in it for something else? That's also why I don't want someone too young. If there's such a big age gap, why would she be attracted to me? I have enough self-awareness. I'd rather find someone closer in age so we can accompany each other in life. No wonder. Before, when you sent me a message saying you wanted someone born in the 80 seconds, I was puzzled. Men like you with high income usually want someone 10 or 20 years younger, never married. Because I've been through a failed marriage with a woman, I value love more. If the age difference is too big, she may be with you because of your money, and when you have no money, she'll leave you. Not 100%, but 99% that's the case. Only with someone closer in age is the probability of genuine affection higher. It's not like younger women haven't approached me before. But if I only wanted someone young and pretty, I wouldn't still be single now. What I hope for is genuine affection. And personally, I'm not stingy when it comes to giving to someone sincere. So how will you judge if she's truly sincere? The second factor is whether her social circle is clean. A person can fake their behavior, but their circle of friends cannot be faked. If a woman likes drinking and clubbing, then surely her friends are also often out all night. If she's the type with blurred boundaries with the opposite sex, playing ambiguous games, then the people around her won't have harmonious family lives. So, whether she has a healthy, stable social circle, and whether her friends are genuine people, is very important. The third factor is her reputation. After all, you weren't part of her past. You can only judge from how others evaluate her. If she has a strange personality, is vain, or has questionable conduct, then people around her won't speak highly of her and will gossip about her often. But if a woman is spoken of well by those around her, at the very least it shows she is kind, has upright conduct, and no major moral problems. She can get along well with others. So let me summarize, big brother. You like a woman who is economically independent, pure in her attitude toward love, with a clean social circle, living seriously, with a good reputation, and no major issues in personality or morality, right? Yes. Whether a woman is worth giving to, I look at these 3 points. Because if a woman is economically independent, has a clean social circle, and a good reputation, then even if she never marries, she can still live very well. If under such circumstances, she still chooses to marry me, then it must be because she truly loves me. When a man faces a woman who truly loves him, he should not be stingy. He shouldn't be calculating, refusing to give bride price. Buying a house, buying a car, that's no problem. After all, since ancient times, rare are true lovers who can come together. So, do you agree with Big Brother's 3 standards of judgment?
每个月只收入2000的城里大姐第一次相亲就被在农村养羊的养殖户大哥带回了家里。大哥仅仅
earning only 2,000 yuan a month went on her very first blind date and immediately was brought home by a rural farmer who raised sheep. For lunch, the man prepared fish for her and even bought some fairly expensive ingredients. The lady was instantly filled with good feelings toward him, thinking that he was truly sincere, a man capable of living a solid life. At more than 40 yuan a jin, this piece here must be over 50 yuan. You see, he has the heart. When guests come, he isn't stingy at all, you know. So, in order to prove that she too was a practical woman who could live a good life, the lady immediately started cooking, taking charge in the kitchen. Seeing how down-to-earth she was, the farmer was also filled with affection toward her. But when he noticed her fine wool sweater, he worried whether a city woman, who had always lived in town, could adapt to rural life. In the city, you have an apartment, you have family, and when you retire, you'll have a pension. Your conditions are already good. Why would you come to the countryside? Our environment here isn't that great. Hearing the man's concern, the matchmaker explained to the lady. The lady then spoke to the man directly. Let me tell you, where I lived before was worse than this. Just a shabby little house in the mountains. Your vegetable market here looks good compared to that. 2 small broken-down rooms. At the worst time, I lived there all by myself. When the man heard she had endured hardships before, he set his worries aside, realizing that she was a woman who could eat bitterness, a woman who was good at living a solid life. He then said that if the 2 of them ended up together, her pension could be saved entirely for herself in the future, and he would cover all of her living expenses. The lady was deeply moved by this, 80-day tease, feeling that the man was a warm-hearted person. So she spoke up about her son, who had not yet married, and asked whether the man would mind. My son is 28. He is now working down south with his girlfriend. They aren't married yet. Hearing this, the farmer did not hesitate at all and said, as his mother, if the child hasn't got the courage yet, then if there's any problem, how could we stand by and not help? Don't talk about yours or mine. If we are together, then we must think this way. We share everything. This blind date had no odd demands. Only 2 sincere people warming each other's hearts. It was worth watching to the very end. This elegant city lady was named Sister Wang. She is 52 years old and a single mother. In her youth, she disobeyed her parents and chose to marry for love. But unexpectedly, her husband had an affair after marriage, I note, so she raised her son alone. Although life was hard, she still managed to buy a home for her son. Later, after her family's home was demolished in urban redevelopment, her parents gave her another apartment. So now, even though her son has not yet married, Sister Wang feels she has no more burdens. That's why she signed up for the matchmaking program, hoping to find a rural man to live a peaceful life in the countryside. Life in the countryside is actually not bad. It's just that you've lived in the city all your life, working in the city, living in the city. Even my son's father is from the countryside, a real rural man, you know. I feel that rural men aren't so bad. If you're willing to work hard, then isn't that good enough? Hearing her preferences, and the program quickly thought of a 5-year-old man named Brother Shan. He raises over sata sheep, and also many pigs. So Brother Shan earns about 100,000 yuan a year. The matchmaker thought they both were practical, so she arranged for them to meet. The next day, the matchmaker brought Sister Wang to the man's village. When they greeted each other, the lady immediately took a liking to the simple man. I think he's all right. Feels good. At our age, you don't judge by appearance anymore. The man also felt she was very down to earth, a woman capable of living life well. So he quickly brought her to his home. When the lady saw that he really raised over 100 sheep and many pigs, she realized he was indeed capable and that his income was decent. With all these sheep and pigs, he definitely makes over 100,000 yuan a year. For a man to run things like this, that's not bad at all. He's the type of person you can rely on. You won't have to suffer too much with him, you know. Because they both liked each other, after touring the sheep pen and pigsty, they sat down on the kang, heated brick bed to talk. The man first asked her opinion of him, whether she could accept rural life. She answered, "I've lived in worse conditions than this, in a little shack up the mountain." Hearing this, the man relaxed, knowing she was a woman who could handle hardship, a good woman to live with. So, in order to win her heart, the man declared, "You don't need to give me your wages. In the future, keep your entire pension for yourself. I will cover all your food, clothing, housing, and daily needs." Hearing this, the lady was deeply moved. She then spoke about her son not being married yet, which led to the conversation at the start. She thought the man might mind, but unexpectedly, he said directly that if money was needed, he would contribute. He also said that her pension in the future should go entirely to her son, and he had no objections. Hearing that the man thought so much about her and was so responsible, the lady immediately decided he was the right one. When they reached the kitchen, she went straight in without hesitation, determined to show him her cooking skills. And so, with her cooking and the man helping to light the fire, together they prepared a table full of dishes in no time. The lady looked at him and said, "The moment I stepped into your yard, I could tell you are a decent, genuine man. Raising all these animals, it shows you are capable. And when we women look for a husband, isn't it just to find someone reliable to lean on?" Hearing her say this, the man agreed to continue seeing her. And just like that, this blind date was a success. In matchmaking, as long as you treat someone with sincerity, the other person will surely feel it too. That way, finding a partner becomes much easier. We also wish this man and woman a happy outcome together. The current reality in Chinese society paints a striking picture. According to the National Bureau of Statistics, by the end of 2023, the number of single adults had already surpassed 240 million, with more than 77 million people over the age of 35 still unmarried. This record-breaking figure shows how intense the pressures of the marriage market have become. The rapid rise of single youth and leftover women is not merely a personal issue. It directly affects birth rates, family structures, and the long-term demographics of China. China Social Trends reveals that as society chases material wealth and unrealistic perfect standards, the true values of love, family, and mutual sacrifice are increasingly forgotten. We must remember, family is the most enduring foundation of a healthy society. Only by returning to traditional values, love, responsibility, and respect for one another can people build lasting, happy marriages. This is the message that China Social Trends hopes to deliver to all of you watching today. In your opinion, is the main reason why tens of millions of young Chinese remain unmarried due to women setting their standards too high, or because men lack responsibility and strength? Share your thoughts in the comments below and let's debate. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you won't miss the next video. Thank you for watching. See you again in the upcoming videos.